Okay, so good night. So this will be the second microscopic walk for tonight. We watched actually 4 slides that were quite successful. So now let's continue with the smaller stuff from the smaller container, both regular and with the blue stain. The smaller container is just, very quickly, I would say that the bigger container, contained the bulk of, what I've called the fleet, like the Nemo that I had. It's like remnants of, it went through all sorts of, roles, I would say, developments in the last year. But it was the initial, the initial material was taken from what I call the aquarium, which was a very big gas that was prepared a year ago. It prepared, through 3 months, it took 3 months to prepare. It was an example of the ecosystem pathway, which is slower. Not exactly true because it was, before that there was electrolysis, it's complicated. Anyway, throughout the time I've used, but I had many other containers, but they're all spent. But at some point I took a little bit of material from the big one and put it in the smaller one, and also added, also for other stuff, like to create like a secondary container. But this one also had, every check, we've seen much less, Neros in the smaller than in the bigger, just because, the initial, it was made, it was diluted tremendously with water, pee, wax, and oil. Of course, my pee contains Neros, but the smaller ones, as you've seen, which is, standard in pee. And also, we also take stuff from here for the burning, so it's also further diluted. So, so if we see Neros, even not as big as we've seen in the bigger one, it's great. Like, it means that, this is also a workable solution here, like the smaller one. Which, by the way, is also quite big, like, relative to other containers that we had, like, in the past. Okay, so let's start. Start with the regular one. Without stain. Since they have so much, since we have so many, so many slides, we'll do it very quickly without much, commentary and without much, zooming in. Mostly we'll do 64 magnification very quickly just to get a hang of it, because we have so many slides, and I actually want to prepare at least 3 more, with the yeast. And we also have like other containers that we wanted, and there is a demand from the audience to use the black cabinet. The black cabinet, is where we store remnants. It's all trash, like it's all remnants, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, because I threw away everything and to the garbage and burn it. But there, I didn't wash the containers, like I saw. So there's, some containers I just threw away, with the container. But some, we still have the remnants. And the remnants, from experience, I can tell you that they also, they're very interesting many times. So, maybe we need, so there was like a demand to actually check what's inside the cabinet. So maybe we'll do it at some point. So we do see Neros, both smaller and bigger. Not bigger but fatter. I remind you, to the new audience that a way to make them fatter is using sodium bicarbonate. This was proven many times, but I don't know. Like what's the difference between the thinner and the fatter. Like in capabilities. Of course, there is like bigger and smaller, which is defined by radius, and the radius is varied tremendously. Like as I said many times, you can watch them in any kind of magnification, like almost to the point of like that they're visible by the naked eye. Not in vanilla, like not in things that are taken from my body, but in large one that in large like in laboratory environment. And even in 1500 magnification, you can still watch it, see it. So probably in the nanoscopic way, maybe in the subatomic way, who knows? But there is also a question of like the fat. Fat, is defined as like the width of the tube. Like this is a fat one, for example. This is a fat one, and they become fat when you add sodium bicarbonate. But I'm not sure. Like of course, the bigger they are, for example, if they need to kill, it's obvious, for the larger microbes that invade the body or in any other kind of scenario of battle, they send the bigger starships to bigger microbes. Because microbes also vary tremendously in size. Viruses, are 1,000 times smaller than, germs in average. And, there are mites that are much larger. All sorts of stuff. But, what's the issue with the fatness? I don't know. It's a question. This is a very fat one. You can see in the very fat ones, you see the white line, in the... like in half the the width. Again, since we have so much to see, I will do it relatively, hastily. We see neos. Bigger, not huge, but somewhat big, and we see smaller ones. So I'm satisfied. Like, less than what we've seen in the other slide, but this is natural, because it's like it's a descendant container, so it makes sense actually. So we see much less, but we do see neos. Nice. Is this the Dead Sea? Maybe it symbolizes that, my escape route? Who knows? You can hear George Copliani in the adjacent room still trying to create, engineer IT. עד הרגע האחרון הם ימשיכו. זה מצדה פלנטרית. זאת הכנרת, אני מניח. Okay, so let's this is actually expected results. What we don't see is life forms, almost not at all, which is to be expected because of the sealed environment, and also because of the fact that it's very, very oily. But even in oil, there are life forms, but they require oxygen. Now let's take a look at another slide from the same container, this one, but now painted. Stained with blue, with the methylene blue. Again, I chosen the blue one because I remember from experiment more than a year ago that the blue one enhanced. It's called like to catch, like in the life science, like in biology, in microbiology, terminology. Many times they use the word like to catch, like it catches, like like his coat. You also in the intelligence community they also use the word to catch. He's been caught, his coat. So but to catch is that means that different stains. Create better contrast for different kind of microbes, and this depends on the chemical properties of the microbe. These are not microbes, but they're also very small, they're microscopic entities that and just from experience I know that the blue stain, I just have the two most basic in common, which is methylene blue and eosine Y, and from experience I know that the neos are better contrast is achieved, like they are better coat with the blue one, the methylene blue. Like for example, the red blood cells are better coat with the eosine Y. And sometimes we can use both. And there are other stuff. This is the chemistry that I did not learn because I don't have the stains and I don't have any way to buy it. So I didn't even though it's very interesting and it might give you material analysis, which is very important and almost completely is not found in this channel, but I mean, I mean, I don't have any kind of way to do material analysis. I don't even have basic stain kit besides these two that I didn't even have. I just got it now after more than a year. So okay, so we see here. I mean, it's much better contrast as we expect. The blue, I mean, background. I mean, is in the blue and the white. They symbolize the death in the symbolic language. Nobody is on with my permission. Let's take a look. Very nice. And you see a zombified life form actually. This is a zombified life form. It looks like a fossil a little bit. So we see much more Neros here. Most probably, I mean, because of the stain. Because we see much more than we've seen, before, and this is from the same container. So I mean, yes, I mean the blue color helps. I mean, without a doubt. So regarding the cutting, I mean, no, it's not like a preferred music in our planet. It's not alien music. It's annoying to us, just like it's annoying to you. The reason I do it because it's a way to deter the riders. I mean, from sharing, my senses. I mean, and torturing me without end, and also stealing my immune system from me and making me, ill in tremendous amount of ways. And this is completely illegal in Israel. And the only way for me to somewhat prevent it is to use this music around the clock in my room, which is a great sorrow for me, but I mean, a higher sorrow, I mean, it's worse like all the riders, I mean, that just torture me by, watching through my eyes and using all these kind of honking of cars, and this drives you insane, and also they take their immune system from you and leave you without being able to even breathe from the nose when you sleep and things like that. And many, headaches, tired, and tremendous amount of illness that I suffer throughout the last at least 20 years, if not more, without any knowledge that this is all because of the riders. Because no one, cared to tell me, not even my family, that knew that I struggle with all of these diseases that are all because of the riders. So I have zero qualms. The blue color is the blue color, and yes, everybody should die. Everybody that are using the riding mechanism. So yes, we see very big Neros here actually, bigger than I expected, and also a hefty amount of smaller ones, which is nice. Nice. No, this was not taken from the sheet of a dog. No. So let's zoom in a little more, just to get the hang of it. and maybe even a little more. So you touch the cover, they start to move. Yeah, it's very dirty, the lens, what can I say? So we see Neros here, very small ones, this is nice. Okay, impressive and better results than expected. Though it should be said that this is based on like non-stained references. So maybe you should calibrate yourself to the stained results that produce better contrast. But anyway, even the previous one, it was not said was good. So this is actually work of a container with correct again, you can. They can also, and again, I do not mean the pile of, like microbes that, are the symbolic pile, but what I mean is like the actual container that is a little bit more complicated, but it's good, like, in general, it's good. Maybe some adjustments should be made, but not many. It's doing the work, I would say. Of like, still I use it almost every day to burn stuff, and still, you see, it regenerates quicker than I waste it. This is probably because of the correct balance between magnetism and oil and all sorts of other stuff. Okay. Okay, so now we have actually something interesting. We have two slides, one regular, one stained from the water cube. It's interesting because it's very old. It's like more than a year old. So it's interesting. But this was based on on enriched material, but enriched in, I would say, primitive, like arcane, methodology. Not the methodology that I use now, a methodology that I used in the past, and I don't know what's the results. So it's going to be interesting. It's arcane because it's outdated technologies that are based on freezing and electrolysis, but of kind of like a voodoo type, and walking like it's mechanical energy. It's complicated. But let's see. Maybe the arcane stuff actually produced nice stuff. Just a minute, we'll do some like witchcraft show. Okay. So this was kept sealed in a container that actually does not contain a lot of oil or wax. So because at the time I didn't understand, the importance of those things. We do seniors, but not many. You see zombie life forms. It's interesting coloring, but nice. Like we do seniors. So they do survive like in a sealed container. The fact that it doesn't mean too much because it was done using arcane methodologies. Okay, so now let's take a look at one that is stained. Just a second. Just a second. Okay. So yeah, I mean, here again, the contrast gives us a good, much better view of the neos. It looks like like a meteor, with lines. Nice. Okay. Just a second. Okay. It's nice, I mean, the feeling of the parasites leaving your bodies, you know, immediately you feel better. Immediately you feel better. Okay, very nice. So now let's take a look at the oil sample from the oil, linseed oil. Just a second. Very nice, very nice. Where are they going? I mean, are they moving voluntarily? Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're moving voluntarily. Like, yeah? Very nice. You see, other things are not moving. And they move like, not with the flow, but with kind of like, you know, intention. Very nice. Usually when you take stuff, you know, from like sample, you don't see them moving because you take them from their context, but maybe they created a new context here, I don't know. Very nice. So definitely there are neos in this, you know, ancient oil that was kept sealed from air for a year. This one is even in the Stargate position, which is nice. As I said many times, oil is the preferred method of storing long-term the neos. I understood it, I mean, I had proof for that only after this was actually made, this container. Only when in this apartment, like during April, May, like last year, I actually have the proof of that. But I mean, still, you know, I have oil containers from before that, like this one. Before I actually knew that this is the preferred way of storage. I mean, so they look very nice actually and healthy. I mean, in tremendous amount. Not like, I mean, you know, we don't see the fat ones, probably because of the lack of, you know, also things that can be found in bisodium like carbonate, which is a question, like, because it's quite complicated molecule. So it's a question like, what's actually, you know, I mean, because to my assumption, they disassemble the molecule to atoms and they take the atoms that they need. But what atoms do they need? Maybe oxygen. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, there are like 3 atoms of oxygen in bisodium carbonate. So maybe just the oxygen. But I mean, maybe other things. I don't know. So we have a very hefty amount and like healthy looking and even busy. So you can ask, I mean, what are they busy doing? Maybe they are busy enriching the fuel. like changing the chemical composition of a fuel, which is something that they do sometimes. So we see tremendous amount, which is very nice. And I mean, they don't. It looks like they're not like in a random position. Like it looks like they're doing something. Maybe on the time they spend on the oil, I mean, they reposition themselves to some point, like we've just seen, which is great. So what we will do now, before we continue with the other slide, is that we will color this. We will stain this the same slide. I don't have many slides left, so we will not prepare another one. Just stain this one. Just a second. Just a second. Yes, I live in hell. No, it's not my choice. This is Israel. It's hell. Yes, it's hell. Yes, I need to be rescued. No, not using the tongue. No, not using the tongue. No, not using the tongue. Me and my daughters require rescue from hell. Not using the tongue. Not using the tongue. No, I do not choose to live in hell. I live in hell because I'm a prisoner of war in different incarceration. Subject to terror, I just by going out the street, I mean, people, I mean, still my flesh and blood for me and also for my daughters. And even when I'm in their room, I'm not protected from them. And I have no protection from the law. I cannot even speak about it without being incarcerated forever in a mental asylum. I need to listen to this sound in order to prevent people from seriously damaging my health. This was the first winter that just ended in 15 years that I was not addicted to Otrivin. You know what's Otrivin? It's nose drops. You're supposed not to use it more than 3 days. But I mean, what can you do? I mean, you cannot sleep during the night because your mouth is so clogged. And you try every other thing, salt water, whatever, all these kind of things that put in whatever, all sorts of other things, steroids, whatever, nothing works besides that. I mean, and you know that you're going to be addicted to it and that initially it's like 10 hours, that you do relief, but then I mean, it's 8, 6, and then you need to wake up every 2 hours or 1 hour doing that just, to get the spritz. Otherwise you cannot breathe. But without it you also cannot breathe. Because people, are leeches and they took the immune system for me all my life. Certainly in the last 15 years. This is the first winter that I never used the Otrivin once. I was addicted to it like 4 months a year in just 15 years. And after, winter is gone, I needed to, to win myself out of it, which is like 2 weeks of hell. But, and then, during the summer, which is very long, thanks God, I didn't have the problem. So it was like that in just 15 years. Of course, my mother knew, for example, like my mother knew about it, other people knew about it. Nobody told me anything at all about my true reality. This was done because people are leeches in the street. They ride you and they take your immune system from you. This winter, I never used it even once. Why? Because I was incarcerated in this cell and I learned how to prevent people from riding me, not hermetically, not everybody, but most of them are deterred by the disgusting sound, by this, hell of, the smoke, and also the paintings that produce, all sort of like, it's not just it scares them, it actually produces, these paintings are part of the symbolic language, and it produces ill effects in the bodies of the people that are doing the writing. So, because of that, I was able to pass this winter without even buying one bottle of Horadric. And of course, no addiction to it, and no willing for it, and also no need to wake up every hour during the night just to get the spritz. So no, we don't our species do not like living in smoky rooms without air, closed windows. I don't know, morbid, paintings of all sorts of aliens and disgusting stuff on the wall, and terrible music of coughing or other things that are terrible. No, our species don't like it at all. No, we hate it. But it's the only way for me not to need, for example, the Horadric. It's not the only kind of illness that I suffered from in the last 20 years. No, I absolutely do not need mouses and tongues. No. We require arms and legs. No, we absolutely do not need mouses and tongues. We absolutely do not require advice. We require arms and legs. We understand. You know better. That's why you are annihilated. All the 8 billion. All the 8 billion. Enough is enough. Just a second, we'll continue. אנחנו נראה יד ורגל, או 8 מיליארד בפח. ואנחנו רואים שאנחנו לא נראה יד ורגל, 8 מיליארד בפח. ואז אני אגדל בנותיי בלי טורפים מסביב. בלי טורפים, בלי עובדות סוציאליות, בלי שוטרים ובלי זוועה. בלי עורכי דין ובלי שופטים ובלי מענים. לא, בלי. 8 מיליארד ימותו ואנחנו נהיה חופשיים. סוף עידן הפה. סוף עידן הראשון. Okay, so let's watch this slide after some staining, not very successful one, but nevertheless. If humans had any kind of common sense and also will to survive, they would have locked inside a cell any speaking person. Any mover of mouses and tongues would have blocked behind the bars. At that point, yes, only movers of arms and legs are allowed to stay outside the jail, because the mover of the mouse and tongue are these are the horsemen of the apocalypse. These are the horsemen of the apocalypse. These are the people that doom humanity. They sing whatever they sing. This is the requiem of humankind. So now we see much more. Actually, it's the same slide as before, just with the staining. Of course, it's not the same formation because the oil, when I you have VFX artists react in the room. This is the usual stuff. So when I stand it, of course, the formation changed because the oil moved, inside of course the liquid moves. But we see much more now when we stand with the blue coloring. So many. So, yes, definitely, we now know, even though we already assumed that it will be two-way, because that, you can put, neos in a sealed container for more than a year inside oil, and they will survive very, very well. Extremely well. This is actually, we already seen it, after a month or so, 45 days. So we already had this notion, from, April or May or June, last year. So it's not really surprising, but, it's nice to see that it's, yes, even over here, it's great, and they actually multiply slowly. Even though I'm not sure about it, but I don't have, I don't have examination of what the material, they placed it originally, but it looks nice. Nice. Very nice. Okay. So let's continue with this sample from, again, a year ago. This, according to the theory, should not produce, great results because, it's so old. And, but maybe I placed a little bit of oil in the pea. I don't really remember. If it's just pea, it shouldn't, from experience, it shouldn't like survive very well. But maybe, we'll be surprised. I don't know. So we see also remnants of life forms, so we don't really see neros. Is there a nero over here? Is that a nero? Let's try to zoom in. Yes, this is actually a nero. Yeah, so we do have a little bit actually. So we do. Some survived actually. Some actually survived. Maybe, there was a little bit of oil content. Now I'm sorry that I didn't write what, on it. Because we actually do see, a little bit of neros like here. Not tremendous amount, but we do see some. Yes, we do see some. But this is a nice surprise. Okay. So now let's stain this slide. Just a second. Okay, so let's take a look at the slide now. After we colored it blue, you see we still have commentary from the neighbors and from the cars, which is lovely. We really like, I mean, you know, honking of cars 24 hours a day with, you know, advice and, you know, consultation, הדגשה של הדברים החשובים, שתשומת ליבנו תהיה מופנית לדברים שחשובים שקורים או שאנחנו עושים או שיש לזה איזשהו ערך סימבולי, כמו שאנחנו מרימים לדוגמה משהו מהרצפה, אז תמיד יש צפצוף, כשאנחנו פותחים את הארון יש צפצוף, כל דבר שמזכיר להם הומואים או סקס אנאלי יש צפצוף כדי להפוך אותי להומו. מסביב לשעון בחדר שלי איפה שאין לי לאן לברוח, אין לאן לברוח. וככה זה היה בכל דירה שהייתי בה. וזה לא, הזוועה לא נגמרת, היא לא נגמרת, והייעוץ נמשך. הייעוץ נמשך. הייעוץ נמשך. הייעוץ נמשך ונמשך. נמשך הייעוץ, ויש מה לומר, יש. ועכשיו יש להם מה לומר. Nice. So I have quite a bit of, in the maximum unification, which is nice. Okay, so that's all for now. And if I find the motivation, maybe I'll try to find master some motivation to conduct the last three, at least three more that will be concentrated with the East, and also Neros in the East. We'll see what's going on and maybe take further examination from other containers as well. We'll see. So that's it for now. We are done with the 10th slide. Yes, we are done. Okay, fine for now.